Hello, it's Kiwi here from Kiwi Concepts, and today I'll be sharing with you a card that I made featuring the Mama Elephant Space Bear stamp set. The primary focus of today's card features a large galaxy balloon that our adorable space bear will be holding onto, and we'll be creating this galaxy through ink blending techniques with distress inks, and I'll also be sharing some extra tips of how I created this texture. So we're going to start this card with a piece of watercolor paper that I have already sized down to an A2 size, which is 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 inches. We're going to be working with 5 distress ink colors, which are tumbled glass, seedless preserves, blueprint sketch, chip sapphire, and a little bit of black soot. And what we're going to do is start blending inks from lightest color to darkest in random fashion onto a watercolor card. So let's get started. Alright, now we're wrapping up the ink blending portion of this card, and we're going to take advantage of the distress ink properties by sprinkling on some water onto our galaxy here to create some bleaching textures. And you'll want to let the water droplets sit on your surface for a few seconds before you soak it up with a paper towel, and that way you'll give it a little time to react with the distress inks. Now the next step is to fill up our galaxy with lots and lots of stars, and we'll do that by using some cheap white watercolor paint, or you can also use white acrylic paint, whatever you have handy. And you'll also want to loosen up the paint by adding some water in order for this technique to work. And I actually added a little too much water this first time around, and you'll see me add some more paint in a little bit to fix that. You'll also be needing a toothbrush, and I have this one that I just keep aside for my art projects. And the purpose of using a toothbrush instead of one of your paintbrushes is because all the bristles on the toothbrush make it a lot easier to sprinkle a lot of tiny little spots of paint onto your galaxy. And you'll also be less likely to make, splotches of white paint that might accidentally drip off of your paintbrush that could be kind of difficult to fix. So now I'm adding a little more white paint to my palette because I diluted it a little too much earlier, so you don't see all the tiny little white dots that represent stars on my galaxy. So I'm just adding it over again. We are almost done with this galaxy. The last step of this galaxy is to use some perfect pearls to add a glimmering texture, and I have a mini mister here that I've already filled up with some perfect pearls and water, and so I'm just going to shake it up and make sure that the perfect pearls aren't sitting at the bottom, and then spray it onto the entire galaxy surface. And now we can set it aside to dry while we work on the rest of the card. So I have here a stamped image of the space bear onto a piece of white cardstock in black VersaFine ink, and I'll be coloring it in with Copic markers. And I generally start by laying down the lightest color on the entire image first, and then I start working on the shading from darkest color to lightest color. And to create a smooth transition from the darker shades to lighter shades, you'll want to color by pulling the darker color to the lighter side so that you have this soft blend without any noticeable streaks. So I'm going to be putting on the music again while we finish coloring the rest of the card. Alright, so now we got all the pieces done and our galaxy background is now dried and ready to be die cut. I'm using the balloon die cut from the Mama Elephant Rainbow High Creative Cuts. We're only using about half the galaxy background that we just created, so you can definitely save the remainder for a different project, or we can make 2 cards today. I'm laying all my pieces onto the background card base that we just worked on, and that way I know where I'm going to glue everything down before I actually put any adhesive on. And we're also going to be adding some black twine to our balloon for our space bear to hold on to. And basically what I did is I did about 3 or 4 loops around the bottom little piece of the balloon and then tied a regular knot. And then I snipped off the edges that were a little bit too long. The next step is to adhere the balloon piece onto the card, and I also added a layer of craft foam underneath it for dimension. Our bear will also be adhered with some foam tape underneath it, and also be sure to add a small strip under his arm so that when you sandwich the balloon string underneath the arm, it will actually stay put. So that way you don't really have to add additional glue to the string. So now we have our finished bear card, and it has the sentiment, "You're out of this world," which can totally be used in any occasion. That completes our card making session today. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the thumbs up button below and leave me a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to be the first ones to know of new videos uploaded. Until next time, see you later.